What was the
Georgina's
date of
smiling.
that?
I think that's yes.
So excited. Was our last session the 17th?
Yep.
Yep. Let's go.
Was it actually? Holy smokes.
I know.
I guess so.
No.
Yes. And that was 35, I think. Episode 35. This is episode 36. Just bananas. But who would like to catch us up on what happened last time? I know what's in Sean's notes because I had to reference them yesterday, so maybe not Sean.
They were very accurate and very detailed. I drew a visitor's badge.
Yes.
Cool.
We discovered the sword of absolution and a portal to travel to different planes. Damn, I can't will it into it.
Yeah. It's close. Very close.
Did that happen? What?
No, we don't.
Wait, no, that definitely
No.
didn't happen.
No.
Okay, it was a
No, it did
lance.
There's a lance.
Mysteriously, Apoc and Aurora just vanish from the campaign.
Through this portal that they found.
No.
Yeah, there's this portal that they found, never to be seen again.
I smell side quest.
It's a spin-off episode.
Yeah. Buddy cop.
Oh, good God.
He's from the back alleys.
All right, but actually, though.
I did get to fully listen back, but from what I did listen to, so we decided as a group to stay back in the school to investigate this monster figure or whatever this thing is that attacks Sage. We were tasked with one chatting with a student and also chatting with a professor who like had the visions, if I remember correctly, like something Professor Nightseed or something.
Ravane.
Yeah, the divination
Yes.
teacher.
Yeah. On the way there, I believe that Elle stole a book.
Oh, that's right.
And then when we got there, we just like asked him a bunch of questions about his vision. Something about like, was it like a dark heart?
Yep, black heart with unclear methods, losing control.
Yes.
Believes it is someone inside the alien.
And the key part was like the losing control part, like feeling like.
Wasn't that Professor Nightseed?
I don't know if it was explicitly
I'm confused.
Well,
said.
did,
My notes do
did
that.
I just assume it was Professor Nightseed because they're the necromancy professor?
I think I was with you on that one. I think that's why we were going there.
Mhm.
Because we looked off over to the side because they have like an apartment off campus.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
I think
Speaking with
Aurora
Professor-
was using clairvoyance to kind of spy on Nightseed while
Yep.
we were up in the divination tower.
Yep.
Yeah, that was so cool. Yeah. As you were speaking with Professor Ravane, the diviner, up in the very, very top of one of the towers, one of the branches of the avium, Aurora exactly using clairvoyance to spy on Nightseed, who was within 1.6 kilometers at 1.5 on the dot. You spoke with Jell as well, a super hyped up coffee in her bloodstream Luma, I believe she was, studying abjuration, who told you a little bit about strange happenings with the servitor skeleton, of which you now know are the skeletons of past professors who have dedicated themselves to the school, which I thought was cool, but based on everybody's reaction, nobody else thought so.
Kind of weird.
And you made the decision, the very wise decision, to split the party
So great.
with Aurora, Basil, and
Always.
Apoc going to see Professor Nightseed, or hoping to see Professor Nightseed,
Mm-hmm.
and Elle and Mrs. Q heading down to the lower library.
Out of game,
Is this a bad split? Like,
is there a good
Well, we
Yeah.
also took a security guard with us,
That is true.
oh, okay.
but Georgina, just a heads up. I'm reading my notes here, and Elle has also a 1 level of exhaustion too. So
Well, both Georgina and Mrs. Q don't remember why we're going to the library, so
okay.
this is gonna be great.
So there was some suspicion cast by half your party on Professor Nightseed, and some suspicion cast on Professor Mordain, the professor who runs the lower library, the owl-like figure, which is why, if I remember correctly, the party decided to split, following each of your suspicions at this point. If I remember correctly, the security guard had to escort Jell back to her dorm and left you all to your own devices with Professor Ravain. I don't believe he stayed behind.
We should request an escort.
Yes. And yes, Elle taking 1 point of exhaustion as basically the clock struck midnight as you decided on your course of action for the evening. As long as I didn't miss anything, and I don't think I did. But we can pick up right as you are descending the stairs of the upper tower, leaving Professor Ravain on the cool, sort of misty night air after the rain. I don't think I used it last game, so the smell of petrichor in
There
your
we
nose. Starting to walk down the stairs, we can pick up with all of you together as you're about to split off, half of you heading towards Nightseed and the other half heading down the long grand staircase to the lower library.
As
you
we're
like to do?
walking down, do we see any of the cleaning staff?
Yes, as you're walking down, you do see an odd servitor skeleton near the top of the stairs. They have in their little bird folk hands. This one seems particularly short compared to the others. Each one are slightly different because everyone is slightly different here. They have a rag in one hand and what looks to be just a teeny tiny little bucket sort of floating beside them as they're just kind of scrubbing, trying to wash away what looks to be a coffee stain, as best guess.
To the group, so if these are all the old professors, very fascinating that they're dedicated their bodies to science and perpetuating academic pursuits. Do you think that they might have any insights or at least some advice or knowledge of what's been going on here?
Well, have we tried talking to them? And according to that hyped up coffee person, they're the ones who saw all the skeletons go to the lower library.
What would you even ask a skeleton, though?
I don't know.
Ask what its nature was.
Is asking how they died insensitive?
Would they even know?
Oh.
Okay, well,
Maybe if they were the divination teacher.
maybe.
What if one of them was murdered?
Basil and
Side quest.
Mrs. Quillam, what do you guys think?
Is there something? Is there information that you want that you think they might have?
Well, I don't really know what to ask this servitor skeleton, but I was thinking if I put it to the brain trust, that I'm looking directly at you, Mrs. Quillam. If I put it to the brain trust, you guys might come up with some questions that'll get us to where we want to, maybe some tips on the current professors, maybe Nightseed, because she created them all, or he created them all. I don't think we've established gender. But I don't know. Do you guys have any questions? We can maybe ask them.
Who just waddles up to the skeleton and says, "That's a jolly hard stain to get out, you know."
So,
It's to acknowledge that you're there.
well, no, you can't just approach a skeleton. That's insensitive. Um, and like I pull back my jacket and I reach down to my side where I have the scabbard that crystal that I have on my waist. I pull out this 19-inch long crystal out of its pouch, and it starts to glow a bright faint white with sparkling. Yeah, 19 inches. And I'm holding it. It's like, here, 1 second, and I walk up to the skeleton and I place it like basically inside the body, like putting part of it to try and like get it to fit somehow.
You should ask it permission first.
Oh, they're dead. It doesn't matter. The okay. Now try as I cast speak with undead. Or
That's
speak with the
really,
dead.
really
Sorry,
clever.
speak with the dead.
Okay. You're asking Mrs. Q?
Well, I guess I have to ask the questions the way this works. So
Mrs. Q's mouth is just hanging open, so she's not saying anything.
Elle is covering her eyes because she doesn't think this is something she should see.
okay, so what I'll do is instead of the thing they're holding, their cleaning instrument, I'll replace it in their hand so it's less visceral.
Okay, all right. So you replace the cloth that they have with
Yeah,
this 19-inch rod
19-inch crystal.
crystal as they are like
And like
kind of very jerkily cleaning, and all of a sudden they're rubbing this crystal.
it glows and so it glows and vibrates with energy when the casting of the spell.
Okay.
What's so funny, Steph?
So
Can you describe
so,
like the shape of the crystal?
so what questions should I ask this thing?
Okay. How do you know what chores to do?
Excuse me, skeleton person. How do you know what tasks to do?
It's very disjointed as it kind of clacks holding this crystal. It acknowledges you. They're just the vacant holes of where the eyes once were in this bird's skeleton, just kind of looking at you, almost comically with a very long, almost toucan-like bill, just made of bone as it's looking at you. I was not expecting that. Okay. So what was the question? How do you know what to do?
How do you know what tasks to do?
From the clacking, you hear just a clean, too clean, must clean, too clean.
Okay. All right.
I was almost happy expecting like clean.
What
Kill.
I heard you were a lofty professor here at the Avium. What was your subject matter of expertise?
Well, big words.
Clean. Too clean.
I got
Ask it who is its master? Who do they serve?
Yeah, who do you serve?
Kind of looks at the dropped rag. Clean. Must clean.
Basil, you got any ideas?
Nothing come to mind.
You can make an Arcana check for me, Aurora.
14.
14. I don't think you've used this spell before, but just based on this monotony of what you're getting from the skeleton.
Okay.
The skeleton is alive, yes, but you're getting the sense that it's not exactly. It's not a reanimation so much as it is a puppet, is the sense you're getting in this case.
Okay.
Maybe it's a Kenku professor, and that's why I can only say two things.
But why would a Kenku reach a doctoral status to be able to teach at a prestigious school such as this?
I've heard most of these like poppy rich kid schools, you just pay to get your way through.
Oh, so like they just regurgitate information back and they don't have any, clear thoughts of their own.
Exactly. Yeah.
Seems right. Okay, well, I think I got one more question. Are you happy?
Too clean.
Cool. I'll take my my crystal back. I resheath it.
Wait. Aww.
You see you hear the clicking of the bones as it kind of reaches down to pick up the cloth once more and just starts going at the spot once more.
I don't think they were a professor.
Why do you think that?
Well, because if they were, they would have had some spirit. At least the person who gave me this crystal said I could speak to the spirit of those bodies that I came across, and I have no reason to doubt their power. So this should have given us something more than just clean. So,
Do you think it's all of them are like this, or
like, I can ask one more person. Then the crystal's kind of out of batteries.
I'm just thinking like maybe some of them are professors, but then some of them are here hiding in between them, and they're chucklefucks. They're posing, but they're here for a different purpose.
Or maybe they're under a really deep spell and they can't, their true selves can't come through. But I don't know.
Is it possible to cast something like remove curse or something on something that's dead?
What's your thinking with that?
That I would cast remove curse and see what happens.
Like, you think the skeletons are cursed? That's why
I'm wondering if Aurora's spell is supposed to get anything that is dead to be able to talk with the spirit of anything that is dead or any person, and it's not working, then there must be some other thing that's happening that's blocking the. So I'm wondering if we tried remove curse or charm person or something like that, if we'd be able to talk to them.
Do we get any sense that this thing is like dangerous, or it's just really focused on cleaning?
Yeah, based on your interactions with the servitor skeletons, I think this is like the second time you've seen them. They seem to just do the tasks around the school that no one else wants to do at this point. They don't seem to be posing any threat to you. They've only acknowledged you if you are in their way. For example, sweeping a step and you happen to be on the step. That happened to you climbing up from the lower library. Or if you directly acknowledge them, like putting a crystal of undescript shape into their hand while they're trying to mop up the stain. You can even see the one you're next to right now as it's clicking. It backs up from the spot that it's looking at, kind of tweaks its head side to side before clacking down the stairs to the next stain, having been satisfied that they have indeed gotten the coffee stain off of the floor.
Okay. I want to try something, but if anyone else has anything to do it first.
Go for it, Elle.
Okay. Elle's gonna kind of look over at where the stain was and see where they're heading to next. She's gonna follow the skeleton, and while she's doing that, she's gonna go into her bag and pull out her packet of crayons. And she's just gonna take the crayons and start drawing all over the floor in big, big patterns to see if she gets any reaction from this thing.
Okay. So as it was kind of heading down the stairs, you notice it stop, kind of cock its head side to side before starting to scrub at what looks like pasta sauce on the wall. That's what I can come up with.
Pasta sauce on the wall? What is
You know
happening
what?
at this school?
Universities, man, exam seasons just passed. As it starts to kind of jerkily scrub at it, the little bucket of water floating next to it, you start to draw on the floor in your crayons. It doesn't react to you as you're doing this. And as you're watching, it finishes cleaning up the spot, stands back up, turns both ways to look at the stain, the marking and crayon that you saw, kind of clacks back up. It sort of looks at you, cocks its head side to side, its bill making it very comical before backing up, looking down at the stain, and just starting to scrub away.
Well, I was hoping it might make it mad if I made a mess, but these things seem pretty docile. Would this thing attack a student?
Maybe if the spell controlling them wanted it to. Like if this one's just told to clean, then I don't see why it would change. But if the person pulling the strings wants to pull a different string, they might not even have a choice.
Very good point.
And we fight our whole lives to be able to make our own choices, and then to have that all taken away after your spirit is left. That's dark shit.
Jesus. What are we doing, guys?
I guess we continue on and
Yeah.
split.
All right. Are we still splitting the party? Just need to know where you're going and who's going where.
Well, this
Question's really kicking in.
Elle, you're looking sleepy.
Yes.
You want to take this with you? Apoc just holds out the flask.
Yeah! She's gonna run back and grab it. And like she hasn't put her crayons away and it's just kind of running down with like her crayon against the wall. Going down.
Don't lose this. I'm trusting you.
I won't. And she like tucks it in with her book.
All right. So Mrs. Q and Elle traveled down the winding staircase from the very top of the tree to the very bottom of the tree.
How long does that take us?
It's gonna take you some time. It's gonna take you a good, this is a big ass tree. It's gonna take you a good, 8 minutes to 10 minutes if you're waiting for Mrs. Q to get all the way down the tree. There's no fast pass unless you're gonna jump and help yourself flutter down a little bit.
Well, I'm not gonna do that because then I don't know what Mrs. Q would do since she can't really flutter.
You'd roll up in a ball and just roll.
Just
Yeah,
cannonball off the side of the tree.
And that was the end of Mrs. Q.
And as you're going, you do indeed pass the openings, just like before in the stairwell, where it looks like it leads out to the bridgeways. You can see every so often the rotating towers around the avium that make contact with the bridgeway pause before moving on to the next one. as you're slowly walking down. There are not a lot of students out at this time. Most of them are in their dorms, although you do pass the odd one trying to rush back either to the library or to their dorm room as you head all the way down to the lower library. What are the rest of you doing?
We're off to see the wizard.
Seed wizard.
All right. We will go with, well, the 10 minutes it's taking Mrs. Q and Elle to get down to the bottom. We'll start with oh yeah, I called you guys group ABBA. Aurora, Basil, and Apoc. So your group ABBA.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start with group ABBA.
So many things that could be said.
Aurora, from your point at the very top where you cast clairvoyance, you are easily able to pick out Professor Nightseed's tower. You would know it as soon as you stepped out onto it.
Hey guys, it's right
You
there.
have to wait.
Hey guys, it's over there.
Over where?
There.
That's it now.
You have to wait a beat or so for it to make contact with one of the bridgeways. And after a little bit of planning, trying to figure out where it would make contact, the tower and the bridgeway of the avium do connect. And you're able to cross into, it's a smaller island than where you initially teleported into the avium. It looks like there are a few towers on this chunk of floating rock. There is a large tower, a large circular stone structure with a, what's the word? Turret? With a turret that looks like it's branching off from the very top of it. And there is a smaller tower that looks to be connected, almost like an infinity sign, like two circles that have been connected to one another. It seems like there is a grand double door to the bigger tower and a smaller single wooden door to the smaller tower. But Aurora, based on what you remember, you did see Professor Nightseed in a smaller circular room that was lit. And there aren't many windows that look lit in on this particular island. You see one at the top of the turret, and you see another about halfway up the large tower.
Okay. I think this might be it. Especially like where the lit window is. Anybody that's up this late probably has an affinity, well, such as myself, for things that go bump in the night. Okay. Didn't think that was particularly hilarious, but I could hear, it sounds like Elle's chuckling off in the distance. Basil, do you want to kind of lead the way? You're the big tough guy here.
Okay. So explain to me the scene again. So there's the turret and the larger tower. There's just like really light coming from the top of the turret, halfway up the tower. Do we see like an entrance? Or do we see like a way in?
Yep. So the larger of the two towers, there is a grand double wooden door. The smaller of the two towers, there is just a single, almost like a man door, not as grand as this arched double door for the main tower. The island itself is not very big. You're only like, you could pick either and it's not going to take you long to get to.
Okay. Basil's going to turn to Aurora and ask, do you know which door? I go to whatever door he pointed to. Which one? I don't know.
I was gonna say maybe the main door, the grand doors.
Okay. So we're talking about the big tower.
The one that's the turret's connected to, because that's how we want to get up to where the light is. So it seems like they both lead into it. One's just like the main door, and then there's like a side door.
That is the vibe you're kind of getting.
Visitors should probably show up from the front. You don't want anybody sneaking in a back door. That's just rude.
Okay. Very well. And so Sir Basil kind of takes the lead and starts walking towards the main door. Do we get the sense that like, yeah, what's the vibe of this place? Like, does it seem like, no, we're just on a stroll going towards the tower, or does it seem like something is very eerie, something's off? We should be very careful, or I don't know.
It is midnight. You're outside, the pitch black. It, as far as you can tell, looks like a stone tower.
But it's a school.
It's a school.
Well-
Absolutely. It's a school. I mean, you're getting some Harry Potter, Hogwarts vibes sort of thing, but Hogwarts at night where all the torches and sconces are lit, so it looks like a little bit creepy because it's a gothic kind of castle, but it's still a school sort of vibe.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, we head up to the main doors.
Yeah, and you go, it opens no problem. There's some creaking as you do, and you open into this grand hall. And now there's some knocking as Aurora knocks as the doors swing open. But you open into this grand hall, and what you can see is very much to the best guess is a study space. You see an odd student or so who kind of looks up before turning back to their books. Some of the sconces are very low lit in this space, but there are desks, tables, chairs. You can see like a pillow that's been sort of shoved underneath one of the tables, almost trying to be hidden or forgotten. You're not too sure. You see some low bookshelves along the walls, a few backpacks or bags kind of strewn about. But it does seem to be just a common area in this case. On either side, you see two staircases that almost crisscross each other as they travel up the tower in a circle. A very slow circle leading all the way up to the very top. But this seems to be the main floor of a study room.
Okay. Sir Basil will turn to the group and say, perhaps we should head up. And walk towards the stairs.
As you walk towards the stairs and start heading up, I would like everyone to make a perception check for me.
First roll of the night.
Good, Elle.
Except for you two. We'll get back to you two in a hot second.
I think that's just 10.
14.
Oh my gosh.
11.
14. Okay, 14 is the highest here. So as you're walking, it definitely feels bigger on the inside as you're walking up this staircase. And as you're going, unlike the staircase in the main part of the avium, where you had trunk on either side of you, the staircase here wraps around the trunk and plummets. There is no railing on the other side of this stairwell into the core of this into the core of this tower, sorry. Stone on one side and absolutely no railing that you can see on the other.
Interesting.
As you're walking up and the dim torchlights from the study room get a little dimmer the higher up you go, you're walking up for a while. Doors kind of passing on the wall beside you. Some of them you see people walking out of, some of them are locked shut as best you can tell. Aurora, one thing you notice as you start walking up, there is a band where there are absolutely no doors on, I guess, one floor is what it could be called. And as you kind of look up and look down to get a sense of where you are, you guess that you're roughly in the middle of this tower, halfway up.
And the turret came out from halfway along
the turret came out from the very top with a lantern lit, so a light lit.
Okay, well, this is weird, right? Should we call to see if Professor Knight, should I just call out? I don't want to wake anybody up either. What do you guys
We can ask one of those kids that's studying. They might know.
Yeah. They're like, do you disturb a student when they're studying? Like, they could be cramming for an exam, and then it's a whole thing, and then it's academic probation if they lose, they fail their exams, and then you feel guilty about it, and it's an extra year of education, then the bills, and then you're in debt, and then it
You
just
sound like you might be able to relate to them. Maybe you should go talk.
it's been a long 4 years.
It certainly can't hurt to ask.
Well, I'm all up for it if you guys want to ask.
Got any other ideas?
Go for it. Go for it, Apoc. You were
Oh, boy.
You were bored for this.
I was
Can we,
bored
like,
for this.
Can we stop a student that's like maybe like coming out of one of the
Yeah, do any of them look like they're leaving?
Yeah, so as you're walking up and having this discussion, you pass the ring with no doors halfway up the tower, and you see one smaller Vulpin, very cat-like in this case, almost reminding you of Eliza from the very beginning of the campaign. She looks to have orange fur with some tufts around her cheeks. She is wearing a little flower crown, but you do recognize the robes and the sigil of the School of Necromancy as she kind of walks down with a little bit of a skip to her step. A long kind of bushy orange tail just sort of sweeping behind underneath her wings.
Hey, sorry, you dropped something.
Thanks.
It's my jaw. I got a question for you. How do you get up there?
Up where?
The the upper levels of the tower.
Oh, well, the staircase will take you all the way up to the top. Are you a student?
Potential future student.
Oh,
You think
okay.
you could show us?
Where are you trying to go?
We're meeting the professor.
A couple professors. You gotta be a little bit more specific.
Nightseed.
Oh, Professor Nightseed. Okay, yeah, she's usually the only one awake at this time. Are you thinking of joining the School of Necromancy?
Maybe. All goes well.
Okay. Yeah, I could take you to see Professor Nightseed.
Cool. Guys, we got a way up.
Cool.
Oh, are these your friends?
Oh, that's my brother and sister. They're just here to help.
Okay, hi. What an interesting family.
we're adopted.
I need a deception check. Basil.
I mean, it's pretty. I mean, like, it's pretty obvious that we're not.
Hey, family's what you make of it.
That was my deception. Okay. That's a 4. I'm rolling terribly.
You opened your big mouth.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, why not? I could take you to see Professor Nightseed. Yeah. Especially if you might join this school. She's up at the very, very top in the turret. Yeah, she's like the last door, so yeah. So what are you doing here? Are you just like, campus tour? Or as she's walking up with you, she is paying absolutely no mind to Aurora and Basil at all.
Pretty much. I mean, I pointed the badge. We're visitors.
Oh, I haven't seen those before.
They give them to the high profile guests that they want to show the school and maybe have us join.
So smooth at the
Yeah.
beginning. I don't know where all of your charisma has gone.
Sir Basil's just gonna lean over to Aurora and be like, "What's happening?"
And we're just like, okay.
Apoc heard about doing stuff like this. He didn't think it would work.
Well, you must be pretty important if you're getting a tour at night because, the only people who are really up are us and the divination, but nobody likes the diviners. They're all a little bit strange. So, if you are going to join, necromancy is where it's at.
I mean, I like to stay up at night.
Me too. That's so weird.
Sure you do.
Some of the best activities are at night.
Like what?
Damn it.
Oh.
Well, sometimes if you're feeling particularly exciting, spirits are the easiest.
Your crystal.
Spirits are the easiest to reach at night if you call out for them. Something you'll learn if you decide to join.
Maybe, wait, you call out to spirits.
Yeah,
So they're there already?
they're everywhere. Some are a little closer than others, depends on if they make it to the astral sea or not. But some of them, if you really enjoy the necromancy of it, some of them actually stay. Explain.
Oh, like the skeletons.
No, the skeletons are just skeletons. Their spirits are gone. They've moved on.
They're not professors?
They were professors, and then they gave permission for our necromancy department to use their skeletons to service the school, but their spirits aren't here anymore. They're allowed to rest.
Okay. That's probably why you couldn't talk to them.
Oh, you tried to talk to them? That is a rookie mistake.
Yeah, she put her 19-inch crystal inside of them and then took it out and made them hold it. And then they started talking.
What did they say?
Queen? Hey, do you have a 19-inch crystal?
No, I don't need such silly things in order to talk to the dead.
Okay.
Here's Professor Nightseed's office. As you've reached the very top of that was so weird. As you reach the very, very top of the turret, you are facing another sort of grander double door compared to the ones you've passed on the way up. And you actually see a plaque in this case, identifying this as one of the professor's offices, Professor Nightseed. The Vulpin that you're talking to just kind of steps aside. And, all right, I do actually have to go finish an assignment for Professor Nightseed, but before you leave, I'll be in the study room downstairs.
What's your name?
Adrian.
Adrian. Right. Maybe I'll see you later.
What's your name?
Camembert.
Nice to meet you, Camembert.
Nice to meet you too, Adrian.
She
Basil.
turns with a little swish of her tail, and just starts to make her way back downstairs. Because I don't want to play that anymore. All right, you find yourselves outside of Professor Nightseed's office. You see the slit under the door, you see a warm glow coming from underneath. And you see some movement, it appears, as a shadow kind of passes in front of the door and back before remaining just a warm orange glow. What do you do?
Mm.
Well, we're here. I guess we might as well follow through.
As you knock, you hear a thunk, a heavy thud, some moving of papers before you hear footsteps approaching the door and it cracks open. I'm very sorry, office hours are not for a little bit, so you wouldn't mind. You're not students. Who are you?
Visitors.
Yeah,
Don't recognize.
I'm big fan. I'm a studier of the occult and the necromantic, and I was in town and I was only here for a short while, so I couldn't pass up the chance. I apologize if it's late in the night, but and just all excited. It's just a pleasure. I can't believe you're actually real. I've heard the stories. Can we come in? I want to just pick your brain and chat.
Of She looks over her shoulder and stammers a bit. Make a persuasion check.
26.
Ooh.
Oh.
Nice.
She looks over her shoulder, kind of holding the door. Basically, she's just a head poking out at you at this point. And you see, as a reminder, you see an older Gallus, long neck, white feathers, with some red kind of framing her eyes, almost like their own set of spectacles, wearing a very, I forget what those glasses are called. The glasses that just go over your nose.
Pince-nez.
There it is.
Yeah.
Thank you. The glasses that just go over your nose, kind of peeking out and peeking back, and just, go. Okay, all right. Yes, you'll have to tell me a little more about who you are, I suppose. but
Absolutely,
come,
absolutely.
Come in. She opens the door.
My two friends are here too. They're also interested in, not as much me, but a super fan. But I don't want to get separated because don't want to get lost in a place like this.
Me, sure. Come in.
Is
She
that
starts
what
to kind of wring her hands a little bit as she welcomes you in before closing the door behind you and shuffling behind her desk as she motions for you all to sit. You do see that although it is warmly lit, the inside of this office is rather cold, very much devoid of basically the exact opposite of the dean's office itself. There's no flamboyance, no decor,
Oh, it's so
a few
subdued.
bookshelves full of books.
It's so reserved and subdued. I love it.
Thank you. How can I help you? You clearly know me,
Well,
Linda
there's,
Nightseat.
well, there's a
I
few
know you.
things, but I think the first thing would get the business out of the way. My friend here, and I looked to Basil. There's been some unfortunate things happening this evening. And Basil, did you want to explain it a little bit better? Because you got there first, right?
So, out of game. We are suspicious of Nightseed, correct? Or are we here just kind of play dumb and we're like,
You play the way you feel like. Go for it.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Okay. Okay. So I'll play it as if. So you're calling Sir Basil to speak. Sir Basil's kind of just look at you a little confused, being like, "What is happening right now?" And he's gonna just say, "Yes, Professor. We're actually helping investigate an incident that happened in the school earlier this night. A student was attacked by a dark creature with red eyes. We were informed that there have been of late many different similar incidences that have happened with the skeleton cleaning crew, and that's the only incident, right?
Yeah.
Or was one more? Good. Remember quickly.
I mean, we know that there had been some incidences.
No.
Like we were just told that it wasn't the first time something weird had happened.
The skeleton crew and then what else?
The attack on your
Red eye
sister.
thing.
Yeah, the red eye.
Oh, and other spottings of these red eyes. We were told that we should speak with you,
Yeah.
given your studies.
And like tarot cards on the table, there's rumors that it might have come from here, but like I wouldn't believe it for a second. So I want to give you a heads up that you might be framed. So if you can help us out and we can both help you, and maybe you can help us figure out what this might be, we can take care of this quickly and swiftly. Nothing to besmirch the name of the great Professor Nightseed.
As you're speaking, Basil, first with you, you would notice you mentioned the attack on your sister. Actually, everyone give me an insight check. Let's see how much you actually get from this. Everyone who's in this room.
$21.
My rolls are garbage. 7.
So Basil, as you're speaking, trying to keep it cool, but a little bit of worry for Sage coming through, you're not paying as much attention to Professor Nightseed as Apoc and Aurora. As you two are watching the professor, you can see as her expression starts to change. The nervous energy that she kind of had as she opened the door to you seems to stall as Basil describes an attack on a student in genuine surprise. Aurora, you particularly get the sense that the professor is shocked at the news. As the servitor skeletons are mentioned, you can see the nervousness start to tick back in as she starts to wring her hands, her talons a little bit more, just picking at the scales around her claws or her talons, as she starts to just hunch a bit more and shift a bit more. But as you, Aurora, speak to trying to wanting to clear the air, the professor eyes sort of dart a little bit before addressing, standing up a long, very turkey-esque kind of neck, standing up and just, this attack on a student is serious. That's not at all what I was hoping to do. Sorry, that's not at all what I anticipated from this visit. That was a slip up of the DM, not of the NPC. Certainly, I'll help you find this red eyes. You say red eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything from the creature or anything physical other than just red eyes? Does the student remember anything?
Made their skin go pale and colorless.
And the creature had claws, from what the student described. And there were markings on the outside of the tree.
You can see her think a little bit. Well, none of the servitor skeletons have claws. They are ex-professors who have dedicated their afterlives to serving the school. They simply function to clean. That's all they do. They don't function in any other way, and they actually aren't even sentient. I would know I am the one who creates the skeletons for the school itself. Range of color, you say, is very particular. Exactly like that. The professor's neck kind of arches towards you as she sort of takes a look. She kind of turns very quickly, gets the book, and starts to frantically flip through it. I can't say for sure if it's without something from the creature, if it is indeed a creature with claws and red eyes. I can't say for sure what it might be. But in necromancy, losing your color very quickly could indicate that. Kind of glances over towards Apoc. There are necromantic creatures who can steal a soul, and it has a physical appearance of a loss of color or vivacity or ultimately life if it's fully completed. In necromancy, and that might not be what you are looking at, but none of our servitor skeletons are able to do anything like that. Were you the student?
No, I'm a visitor.
Right.
This happened a long time ago, but it's still, I have no soul. Is the soul an object?
No. I know what you were gonna- It's more of our link to the other planes of existence, essentially. But if you lose it, then it's not good. And for people who come across creatures who have any type of soul stealing ability, you might not lose all your soul, just part of it. And this is how it might manifest.
How could a creature like that exist on campus?
They're not supposed to. There are magical enchantments to keep bad creatures out of the avium.
Do you
Would
know
that
any?
mean this creature was already inside?
As the professor of necromancy, would you know any? And is that your area of expertise?
I teach theoretical necromancy, so yes, I would know of some, but to answer your question first, good Sir Knight, something like that did exist in the avium, then yes, it would have to be built here. Or our defenses have failed, which isn't good. But it has nothing to do with the servitor skeletons, as I've said before. They're just here to clean. Nothing at all. Creatures like this are usually not on this plane of existence normally. They take place in the abyss or the Shadowfell or just not here in the material plane unless someone has brought them here or they have found a rift, for example.
For that type of magic to bring a creature like that here into our plane, surely there must be some type of tell or what's the word I'm looking for? Some type of marker that has shown this spell has happened. Is there any way to identify that?
She thinks for a second. Creatures can be summoned if you have the right knowledge to do so. They can also be built if you have the right knowledge to do so, particularly undead in this case. Similar to the reanimation of a skeleton that I perform simply for serving the school and nothing else, you can always experiment in a way. But if you're looking for something like that, then that would be more in the realm of a conjuration to bring a creature here or some perversion of necromancy and transmutation to build one.
You have a book on that?
Much of this knowledge is restricted to the Necronomicon Ex Corpus, which is a restricted tome that virtually no one is allowed to have access to.
I'm a bit of a necromancer myself. I'd be curious to see what it contains. I don't think I've restricted myself. And would you be able to grant us access to it? Maybe there's some clues there we can help. We're on a bit of a time schedule. And to be honest, I would love to see this book. Big fan of the Necro.
She adjusts her glasses, and I would like you to make a group. Let's do a group persuasion check in this case.
I
Hey,
never
Aurora,
want to hear the phrase "big fan of the Necro" ever again.
Hey, Aurora, could you build me a soul? Apparently I need one.
No, that's That's beyond my capabilities. Nor would I want to. That shouldn't be allowed.
Okay, what's our persuasion checks here?
17.
Aurora?
17.
14?
17.
That's really good. Professor Nightseed kind of sits back a little bit and adjusts her glasses. I need a
Yeah. Do you want this one?
no. Adjusts her glasses as she wraps herself around in the cloak. I am the keeper of the Necronomicon because I need to use it in order to perform the duties of keeping the servitor skeletons functional and benign, and making sure that they do their duties, and every so often the ritual needs to be re-performed. I am the keeper of the Necronomicon, and I take that very seriously, so no, I cannot grant you access. But the other concern that I have, and if you are truly looking into this, it was stolen from my office.
Stolen?
Steph came back in the screen.
I just had to get up to let the cat in, but I can still hear everything, so I had to come back.
What do you mean it was stolen?
What was the first part of that?
What do you mean it was stolen?
Well, to steal is someone has taken it without my knowledge of who or where it went.
Do you have a picture?
What's a picture?
Do you have an image of it? Did you draw it out? Do you have something that could...
The tome about.
Are you friends with a diviner? They could probably find it pretty quickly.
I have tried such a thing, and the Necronomicon itself is protected.
Can I insight check?
Go for it.
Nope. It's a 1.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Pretty truthful.
Okay.
How could someone have gained access to the tomb if you say it was so protected?
That's what's most concerning about this. I have notified the dean, and I have notified Professor Ravain, the diviner on campus here, and no one has been able to find it. I have been trying to recall any other ritual I can to find the tome, but no one. I am the keeper of the Necronomicon, and no one is supposed to have access to it, which is why it was so secure. So the fact that it is gone means that someone very strong or very powerful knew that I had it and was able to bypass everything to take it.
So it was in this room?
Well, there's a lot of people know that you have it. That's not a we're visitors, and we've been here for less like a day, and we've met like half a dozen people that know you have the book. So
Certainly. But to take it is something very different.
oh, I agree.
Where did they take it from? And when?
Kind of looks at you all before she stands up from her chair, moves a small bookcase out of the way before kind of placing both hands on the wall and just sort of giving a gentle push. You see the wall almost melt away as she does, revealing a hidden storage area.
Raiders of the Lost Ark style.
Pretty much, yeah.
Nice.
The school is ancient, and there are hidden cavities everywhere in this place. Now, this has been the office of the necromancer for basically as long as the school has been built, and it is under the protection of the necromancer to protect the Necronomicon, and it has never before failed. This is just a room, but in it were enchantments. Many protections that someone has dispelled in order to get to the Necronomicon.
Okay. Do you guys have any more questions for the professor? I have a few things, but I want to give you guys a shot.
Can we look in the room?
There's nothing there at the time, but hold on. As she kind of waves her hand and mutters under her breath, there's this sort of radial pulse from her. Now you can look in the room.
Any fabrics, hairs, anything, feathers?
Make an
Markings.
investigation check.
Oh, don't fail me now.
Can we investigate as well, or no?
Sure, if you want to make an investigation check, if you're going to be looking in the room, go for
It's
it.
a 5.
5.
Yeah.
On yourself. With all the crap rolls.
14.
Apoc, as you like shove your head in to go look, you really don't see too much other than the smaller sort of broom cupboard-esque.
Yeah.
You can see, you know, the mice that have scurried into the corner. Basil, you do see as you kind of turn the corner to look in, some runes kind of carved into the stone that are slightly glowing, starting to fade.
Hmm. I'll ask. What are these runes? Is this the protection spells that you mentioned?
Yes. They're always on, and I've temporarily dispelled them to allow you to look into the room. But I would say you have 10, 9, 8.
I head back up, but other than that, we don't see anything like any other like markings that would show someone has been in there.
It looks bare.
Okay.
There's nothing else in there.
Professor Nightseed, you're an expert in necromancy, right?
Yes.
If I were to show you something, don't be afraid, but if I were to show you something, would you have an idea or be able to share with me what it is?
I can certainly try.
I pull back my cloak and I pull out the crystal. This 19-inch long white crystal that's kind of still shimmering and humming with energy. I was given this. It was a man in a cave gave this to me and said that it would help me. What was it? Help me understand myself better and be able to reach out and touch those around me that want their stories to be told. Ever since I've held it, I've just felt a deep connection to the world around me. But I have no idea what this is. Can you take a look?
She almost like gingerly picks it up to sort of
It's
look it
just-
over.
It just seems to be like humming with power, and I've just been on edge ever since I've had it.
She regards it, puts it down. This is the thing?
Yeah.
TM.
Yeah.
Well, I can try a simple identify spell if you're completely unsure of what it is.
Well, it lets me to speak. I've at least tinkered with it and toyed around, and I've been able to speak to some skeletons and some folk. But yeah, if you could give me any insights, that would be great.
Mm. She kind of rubs her chin a little bit, adjusts her glasses, rummages around to pull out I think it's a pearl, to pull out a single component that she needs before kind of crushing it between her hands and sprinkling the dust over the crystal itself. You can see her as her eyes sort of move under her eyelids before squinting, shaking, and backing up. It's strange. You got this from a man in a cave.
Yeah.
It's called a soul speaker crystal, as best I understand it, but it's ancient. As in beginning of time ancient. There is magic here that I have never and will never see again. It's built into the structure itself. And she sort of squints as she's almost like she's trying to remember. It's a fraction of something bigger. It's broken. Is what I get, but it's loud. Sorry, that's all I know.
That's great. That's more than I know. So you live up to your reputation. One last thing. Could you here, I take the crystal back.
Oh, don't just grab it. Jeez.
It's fine. Don't worry, I got a little pouch for it. It fits nicely in there. Last thing, again, big fan. Can you just autograph my spell book for me? And I flip to the front, just like the margin. Just I'd love to get your autograph.
A strange request. Make a
You're
persuasion check.
You're a legend in the necro community.
Make a persuasion check, but I'll give you advantage. The flattery works. Like
Oh,
30.
that's a 29.
There it is.
Yeah.
You could see her just sort of like rub her hands together a little bit more. Just a strange series of events, even for necromancy. Okay, certainly, sure. As she scrawls her name onto it's not neat, it's like doctor's writing kind of thing.
Well, we probably shouldn't dilly-dally, but I'd stay here all night if it was up to me, but I know you guys have other business.
Yes, if you need any more assistance, just I guess come back to visit. I'm usually I'm here all night. Find the book. Please bring it straight to the dean or to myself. Do not let anybody else look at it. And if you know what's good for you, you won't look at it either. All right. Oh, wait. She kind of sits down and just starts to hunch. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break, and then we're going to jump back to team Mrs. Q and Elle when we come back. Do you want to help? ending at 10, so we will jump back in. And we're going to jump back in straight to Elle and Mrs. Q, who are very patiently taking their time walking down the grand staircase. All right, so Elle and Mrs. Q, as you make your way down the long, gently spiraling staircase that wraps around the core of the avium itself in the main trunk of the tree, saying goodbye to your friends as they hop out towards a bridgeway. You take your time to reach back into the more musty smelling corridors that lead to the lower library. And as you walk down, you make it to essentially the roots of the tree. The ground underneath starting to turn from solid wood to more of a soft wood under your feet. As you find yourself once more outside the giant double doors that lead to the lower library, carved out of the wood of the roots itself. You can see that underneath the door and in between the two doors where there is a slight opening, a slight crack between them, there doesn't appear to be any light on in the library itself. As you are faced with, well, Mrs. Q, you do know that this is the door that locked behind you when you left as the last person to leave after Mordain shut it. What would you like to do?
Mrs. Q looks at Elle and looks at the door and just
Knocks on the door.
yep, I want to see if anyone's still in there.
So as you knock, there's a slight kind of thunk, hollow thunk as you knock. You wait a beat. You wait a beat. Nothing seems to be coming your way.
But I heard something.
No, there was the thunk of you knocking on wood.
Mrs. Q tries the doorknob.
All right, as you go to try the doorknob, it's you face some resistance as it appears to be locked.
Okay.
Do you know where the professor was going? Did he say he was going to be working late?
No. Did he? I don't remember. I don't think he said anything like that. No, I didn't think so. Miss Q turns to Elle and said, he didn't say anything to me. I assumed that his office would probably be close by, but that may not be the case. So I guess we just need to try and see if we can get in.
Do you remember if there were any windows or anything from outside in there?
So you would remember, Mrs. Q, you are now in the lower library, where the books and the tomes down here are some of the most restricted and protected. It is dark. It is kind of musty smelling. You do not remember seeing a window as you were down here reading for the entirety of the day.
Okay.
You
That's what I'm wondering. Mrs. Q is technically...
want to give it a good berry?
I'm just trying to think, would she break it down a door? Remind me, sorry, out of game. We are going down here to try and look to see if we can find clues as to why all of the skeletons came down here. That's
So
what
you do
triggered
know
it.
from Jell, the student, that the servitor skeletons went into the lower library. They were acting weird and walked into the lower library. I think Mrs. Q specifically had a little bit of an inkling that there was something up with Professor Mordain, and that's why you chose to come down here and split the party in this case.
Okay. So she turns to Elle and she says, well, Elle, our options are we go find a security phone and call security and get them to unlock this for us. or get permission from the dean to have security unlock this for us, or we try and unlock it ourselves.
Are you any good at picking locks, Mrs. Q?
Only picking vegetables, my dear.
I can give it a try then. If I can't pick it, I have another idea.
Okay.
Okay. Elle, Ella is gonna attempt to pick this lock, but I'm not sure what she's gonna try using because I don't think I have any lock picking tools or anything.
Okay.
While she's looking for her tools that she may or may not have, Mrs. Q, just in case, casts Dispel Magic on the door. In case there's any-
Okay. At what level do you cast it?
I think I only have it at one level. Hang on. Yeah, I only have it at one level, and that's level 3.
Level 3?
Yeah.
Okay. So Elle said she was gonna pick the lock first. So Elle, I'm going to get you to go ahead and make me, we'll get to you in a second, Mrs. Q. Order of events, make me okay, you don't have tools. You don't have proficiency.
I'm gonna take the pin off of my cloak because it's
Okay.
the only thing I have that has like something short and stabby.
So make me a dexterity check, but you are exhausted.
Yeah, so I roll with disadvantage, right?
Correct.
All right. Okay.
Can I cast guidance?
Sure, you can cast guidance. So you
Can I
get a
guide
D4 to it.
myself? I don't.
You do not get double guidance. No double guidance.
Damn it. Okay. I will roll these guys.
So
And it's just a plus a D4. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh well, I got a 4 in the D4. I rolled a 15 and a natural 1.
Aw.
Which, if I add my dex and the 4, it gets to 6, but it's still a nat 1.
Yep. Sorry there. A nat 1 is a nat 1 is a nat 1.
Oh no.
All right. As you go to try and pick Elle, you feel a little warmth as some pink mist tries to help guide your hands with the guidance from Mrs. Q. As you go to try and pick the lock, you hear a little as one tumbler you think goes, and then you see a sand slowly start to drip from the lock. And as it touches your skin, I need a Constitution saving throw.
Whoa.
I know.
I think this is working. Ah! Ooh, that's a natural 20.
Whoop, whoop.
Nice.
So 22.
Okay. So you feel yourself as you level 1 exhaustion is only for ability checks, if I have that right. So
Yep.
yeah,
I
okay.
double checked.
Yeah, so as the sand touches your skin, you feel your head get a little woozy and your eyes start to close before you blink them awake and back up a little bit, seeming to resist the effects of the sand. And once you back up and stop touching the door, the sand stops flowing and just sort of vanishes as it falls to the ground. Mrs. Q.
Dispel magic.
As you go, as you release the dispel magic, tell me what that looks like.
Ooh, okay. It looks like this time it's gonna look a little different. It's still gonna be pink, but it's gonna look like a bunch of little butterflies flying around the door, looking for magic.
As the little butterflies fly around the door looking for magic, you see them in their sort of ethereal form, just sort of pierce into the lock and the hinges and the wood of the door itself. And you feel almost this kind of wave sort of bump out before just almost like a faint sort of sparkle kind of stays over the door. Very, very faint. You get the sense that you have successfully dispelled. And I totally forgot that you have 5th level spells now. So that's fun. Or 3rd level spells now.
So it's
yes.
So I'm led to believe that the magic is dispelled. Has the sand stopped pouring out of the keyhole?
So the sand stopped pouring out when Elle stopped touching the lock.
Ah, okay.
You do get the sense that things have been dispelled.
I don't think that necessarily means the door's not locked. Okay, I tried
Did you
to
unlock it? I'll try. I'll try it again. I'm gonna go up and grab the door handle again.
All right, make another dexterity check at disadvantage.
2 14s, so
Ooh.
Pretty good.
15.
15.
Mhm.
And the door slowly pushes in, just slightly.
Nice.
You see as you kind of poke your head in, a very, very, there is some fire still in the sconces, but it's almost as though you've turned it down to just be a pilot light, casting just enough for you to see very eerily from your peeking through the open door, the backlit shelves, the tables that you once stood on, Mrs. Q. The tables that you were once studying at, Mrs. Q. A very cold interior to the lower library appears before you. Do you go in? What are we doing?
Do we see anybody?
Mrs. Q, can you see in here? Well,
Is
can
it
you
like-
see better than I can?
I'm just wondering that. Is it very dark?
Very dark. You have a little bit of light, but not enough that I would say it's anything better than like a tea light. You have a tea light in your hand, or a tea light on the wall.
Okay. Mrs. Q, you hear her like mumble something under her breath, and she casts thaumaturgy and brightens the lights.
Okay. You cast thaumaturgy and the lights flare up to giving a warmer appearance to this lower library. A little more akin to what you saw in the daylight, but not quite as bright. There is still this shadow in the lower library, being nighttime in a basement, essentially. But you can certainly see now more clearly the tables, the shelves. You can make a perception check from where you are at the doorway.
Yes. I shall do that. That's a 5.
5. You see the tables and the shelves from where you are at the doorway.
I don't think it's that.
Maybe not. Maybe I need to be more like intentional with it. Mrs. Q says, Professor Mordain, are you down here?
Silence.
Okay. Elle?
Well, do you want to check the desk and I'll check the shelves? See if we find anything?
Yes. Keep an eye out, especially for any secret passageways or secret doors. And if you find one, maybe don't open it just in case it's got a booby trap.
Oh, okay. Maybe there'll be more
That's how I
sand.
thought
Okay.
the sentence was gonna finish. Okay. So as you both enter the room, I'd like you to make separate investigation checks for whatever it is you're looking for, and Elle at disadvantage.
I got a 2 and a 3.
Oh boy.
There's shelves.
Yes. Lots of books. Old books. Smells gross.
19.
Smells like my grandma in here.
19. What were you looking for, Mrs. Q?
I want to like take note of like any handwritten notes that I find, and if any of the drawers are locked in particular, and if any of the drawers, like if it looks like anything's been like stuffed or hidden in any of the drawers.
Okay. So as you're looking through the main desk then with a 19, now this is going to take better part of like 10, 15 minutes to actually start searching through everything. As you're making a thorough sweep with a 19, Elle sort of loses interest like after a minute or two.
She's just wandering around at this point. She takes out the flask and drinks some coffee, or she tries to. Wait, do I have advantage if I try to drink coffee?
So this is just a D20 roll, yeah? Like a plus, like
For what? Making
the
coffee?
coffee, yeah.
Yeah, you roll a d20 as long as it's not a 1, coffee comes out.
So no,
Okay, it's not a 1. Okay.
Now, do you roll that at a disadvantage?
No, it's not an ability check. I won't be that mean. You can have your coffee.
That's what I
your
was
imaginary
double-checking.
coffee.
It's okay. The teen got her coffee, so she's good.
Yep.
So as you're going through the desk drawers, Mrs. Q, and just quietly opening them up, spending the better part of 15 minutes to kind of go through, you see, handwritten memos. You see just some like notes to self, essentially, a student newsletter kind of thing in the top few drawers. As you go down a drawer, you do see a little logbook that has, well, what you assume with a 19, what you assume as you open it up, a record of anybody who has checked a book out of the lower library and then when they returned it.
I thought that they were reference only. This little
And
liar.
As you continue to look through and continue to look through, you sort of looking around and pulling stuff out. You don't notice anything else really out of the ordinary, but the bottom right-hand drawer appears to be locked.
The bottom right-hand drawer?
Yeah.
Mrs. Q calls over Elle and says, "Hey, Elle, you did such a great job on the door. Mind seeing if you can open this drawer? Is there a key? Like, is there an obvious lock?"
It looks like there's a little, like one of those little tiny drawer locks that, yes, you would need to unlock. All right. Make a dexterity check at disadvantage, Elle.
All right, let's do this. She's got enthusiasm at very least. An 8 and a 9.
Total?
Yep.
As you put your pin in and try to turn it, it doesn't quite turn, and then as you try to take it out, it's stuck. The pin's stuck.
Uh-oh.
Right. Is this an old desk? Is it a solid looking desk?
Yeah.
Very
Is it
much
made of wood? Is it made of wood or metal?
So like all of the, great question, like all of the kind of desks and furniture that seems to be in a lot of these offices, including the bookshelves, it has been formed from the wood of the tree itself. So almost like this library was carved out, and when it was, the bookshelves were carved out and the desk was carved out. Yeah, so it is stationary. It is a solid stationary wood that is just continuous with the floor itself.
Looking at the lock, would I see if the lock on the desk is made of metal?
In this case, yes, the lock is indeed made of metal. It is an added feature in this case.
Okay, well, Elle really wants her pin back, so she's gonna cast heat metal on the lock to see if she can melt it, essentially.
Okay.
To get her both with her pin out and hoping that maybe it'll like unlock.
All right.
This is her logic.
Okay, this is great logic.
Yep. It's a desk drawer. Like, it's a desk drawer. Not exactly something that is the most secure thing in the world. And as you do cast heat metal, it takes 6 seconds for the spell to set in, and you can feel your pin getting easier and easier to move as you slide it out. It is hot to the touch a little bit as the metal around it had heated up. And as the lock melts, you are able to, this is pretty creative, so you're able to actually pull the drawer open. Yeah, you're able to successfully open the drawer with the heat metal spell. And as you do, the drawer is empty.
Damn it.
Is it really empty though?
That's the question.
Should investigate.
In her frustration, Elle's just gonna like bang her hands on it. Does anything move in it, or is it still just empty?
Still just empty.
Hmm.
Do you usually lock your empty drawers?
No. Mrs. Q looks to see if there's a false bottom in the drawer.
Okay. Yeah, just make an investigation check as you do.
I'm rolling better today.
Ooh.
21.
All right. Yeah, as you go ahead and kind of tap, 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 tap around, you do get a hollow sound, as it seems like there is a false bottom to the drawer.
Yeah. Is there an obvious way to take out the false bottom?
With a 21, yeah, for sure. You're able to just find almost like a cantilever mechanism on a spring that you're able to spring open the bottom of the drawer. And you are able to pull out just a couple ripped pieces of parchment. Both of them.
Mrs. Q pulls out the parchment pieces because we want to know what's on them.
Is the librarian stealing his own pages?
All right. As you have the parchment pieces in your hands and go to read them, it actually looks, instead of pages from a book, to be scrawled handwriting sideways across each page. And what you see, to your best guess, resembles almost like a list, like a checklist. So what you can see is like, need more information, try to find book on conjuration that still has pages, period. Need more information, try to find something with necromancy, period. Yeah, you just kind of get like a to find list kept in this locked false bottom drawer.
Does the writing on that paper match the writing on the desk? The papers on the desk?
All the same writing, yeah. I would like you both to make perception checks for me, please.
Uh-oh. Nine.
5.
Oh la la. Ladies.
Oh dear.
I'm really tired.
Yes, you are really tired.
I feel like Team ABBA had much better roles.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. As you are bent over, making the realization that what you're looking at probably shouldn't be in this area and is definitely not something a librarian should have in a false bottomed drawer. I need you both just to roll a straight d20. Just give me a d20 roll.
Would this be
No
considered an ability?
disadvantage, just a d20 roll.
Okay.
Coffee starts pouring.
And I
out.
want to know what you roll because I need to know who rolled higher.
20.
16.
Mrs. Q, as you're bent over, not aware of anything around you, you feel something rake across your back, piercing through the spines along your back, kind of digging into your arm as you take you take 6 bludgeoning damage.
Ooh.
And as you feel this kind of pulse with the surprise and the shock, since you did not hear anything approaching you, you also kind of hear sort of a buzzing in your ears as you take an additional 3 points of necrotic. We need to roll initiative.
Oh no!
Little
Yo,
party!
And ABBA isn't there.
I think we're as far
ABBA isn't
apart on this map as we could possibly be.
You're literally on a different island.
Yep.
Okay. you
Okay,
rolled real
okay,
bad.
okay. I'm ditching those ones. Okay.
All right, initiative rolls for me, and I will send out an owl bear, which, as a heads up, is having an update, just FYI, and it's real cool.
Ooh.
Okay, Elle, initiative roll.
20 total.
Mrs. Q, initiative roll.
9.
To be fair,
okay.
you just got attacked.
You both rolled better than it, so you're fine.
Oh, phew, okay.
All right, so I sent out the link. Oh, I can deny entry.
But you don't know who we are because we're not.
Well, one of you is Mrs. Q / Basil, so I'm pretty sure I know who that
I
is.
changed our name. Yeah. Before we were a gladiator, so.
Oh, it works so much better on mobile now.
All right, so I'm just going to give you an idea of where you are. So the door, oh, where's my little thingy?
Oh wow.
So the door you came in is over here. This is the main room of the library itself. You can see there. Well, that's
It's
awesome.
so much better on mobile.
You can see that there appear to be more doorways here, here, and here. Or sorry, not behind you, just on the opposite side of the room from you and across the room from you. You are standing at a desk. Pretend that there's a desk there. And Mrs. Q, you just got absolutely raped across the back. As you turn around to face the bookshelf that you're at, you see nothing. But you are first up in the initiative order.
Cool.
Oh, no, that's a lie. Sorry, Elle. Elle is first up. I mixed those up. Elle, you turn around after Mrs. Q gasps, seeing this like dark shadow mixed with Mrs. Q's blood as she turns around. And as you turn, you see nothing but shelf.
Nothing but shelf?
Nothing but shelf.
Fuck. I'm still trying to get into the room, so bear with me 1 minute.
Oh, shoot.
You gotta love country internet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Yeah.
Mrs. Q, you are on deck though, so just thinking about what it is you would like to do.
Yeah.
But I don't see anything.
See a bookshelf. The flames kind of dancing on the walls here, giving you You are in the middle of the room. The sconces are all along the walls in between the bookshelves. So, for example, there is a sconce like here in this corner. There is a sconce. Oh, I'll do it again. There's a sconce here in the corner. There's a sconce in this corner. There was a sconce on either side of the main door and one on the far corner. But that's really all that's giving you light at this case. So in the middle of the room, you are a little like the shadows kind of dancing around, causing movement that you don't even know. You're not sure what you're looking for, and you don't see anything. And it's creepy. It's eerie down here. What do you do, Elle?
She's gonna just yell out, "It's not a game if you're hiding. This isn't fair." She's gonna move closer to Mrs. Q, and can I hold an action until I catch sight of something?
Yep. All right, so you're holding an action.
Yeah,
Mrs.
I'm gonna hold Thunderclap.
Okay. All
Classic.
right, so you're holding your spell for when you see something. Mrs. Q, you are up.
Yeah. Okay. What am I doing?
I moved like right beside you.
I don't know what to do.
You either have to like kind of reveal something or
Okay. Remind me again. So with spells, unless it says that it can be used as a bonus action, it is your action, right?
Correct. So yes, the spell is either an action or a bonus action, but you can only use one leveled spell per turn, either as an action or a bonus.
Got it. Okay. Cantrips included.
Cantrips are not a leveled spell. So you can have like a level 2 spell as your action and then a cantrip as your bonus, and that's okay. But you can't do a level 2 spell and a level 1 spell.
Yeah. Okay. Understood. So I don't know if this is going to work. So let me explain what I was thinking of doing before I do it so that you can tell me if it works. So my plan was to use my druidcraft because it says I can create a sensory effect such as falling leaves. And so I was thinking of trying to use that as like a way of like cause falling leaves, and then it would sort of like create the shape of the thing that was invisible.
I like it.
And then attack it with, because that would be my action. And then I would have the bonus action of spiritual weapon, because then I'd be able to see it. And I whack it with my right.
Okay. So that's a really cool idea. As you druidcraft and you cause this illusion of falling leaves coming down. Yeah, it doesn't even matter where you go. It hits nothing. So wherever you choose, actually, you tell me where you're going to actually craft this. Where is the area that you're crafting?
I don't actually know. I don't think the spell says what the. Oh, hang on. Yes, it does. A 5-foot cube.
Yeah. So what 5-foot square are you casting this on?
Presumably the one behind me.
Okay. So right here?
Yeah.
Right here?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So as you whip around and druidcraft, your leaves swirl and just fall to the ground. They don't shape anything.
Okay.
But you do have your spiritual weapon up.
So now I don't, does that require me to, do I have to be able to see the thing? Against a creature within 5 feet of the weapon. How would I know whether it's within 5 feet of my weapon? I wouldn't know.
Right now you don't. You have no idea.
So right now it's just floating.
So right now you can have your spiritual weapon up and it's ready to go
Yeah.
the
Okay.
next time. Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'm holding.
Okay. All right. As you whip around in a moment of calm, the spiritual frying pan from Mrs. Q starting to float around. Elle just at the ready, eyes darting around. You see the shadows around this corner of the room start to coalesce as they seem to almost pull out of the wall to form what looks like this vaguely humanoid thing, this vaguely humanoid creature that just basically appears in front of your eyes. Yeah. So as it kind of coalesces and starts to appear in front of you, it is going to reach one hand towards you, putting its, well, these elongated claw-like fingers back into the wound it caused you before, Mrs. Q, as it's going to try and damage you again. This time, not as a surprise.
So just a quick question, if I held my action to when I saw something, would I release my spell before it hits Mrs. Q?
So you were waiting for when it appeared. It appeared first. So yes, go ahead and take your.
Okay.
But it was thunderclap, right?
Yep.
All right. So what do I have to do?
Each creature within range other than you must succeed a Constitution saving throw. It's a range of 5 feet.
Each creature within range?
Yeah. Other than me.
Love it.
Get clapped.
Wild.
Just,
All right.
You have to succeed on a Constitution saving throw.
Is it just within a 5-foot range of you?
So it says range and area is 5 feet.
Okay. All right.
You create a burst of thunderous sound that can be heard up to 100 feet away. So hopefully somebody hears that something's going on down here.
That's fair.
Each creature within range other than you must succeed on a con saving throw or take damage.
Okay, so the creature, just for you, so you know, appeared right here, which is greater than 5 feet away from you. But as you see the creature and release the spell, Mrs. Q is within 5 feet of you. So what was it, a con save, Mrs. Q?
Yep.
No one expects the clap back.
Yeah.
18.
18.
Okay,
Elle,
you're good.
that saves. Okay.
No, you're good. You're good. You had to be 13.
All right. As the shadow itself, this loud clap of thunder kind of deafening you for a second, the shadow seeming unaffected reaches out its long, shadowy claws towards you. I don't think it hits though. Does an 11 hit?
No.
This is you.
No. No.
Okay. As it tries to strike into you, the clap of thunder is just enough to have it sort of shimmer, so that it doesn't actually hit you, but you can feel almost this like this sort of pulse through your body as it makes contact with you once more. You can see it just kind of flicker. You can see it flicker once more before it starts to slink back into the shadows itself, becoming almost one with the shadow next to the bookshelf that you're at. You don't see it anymore, as it, for all intents and purposes, hides from you. Elle, you're back up. Mrs. Q, you're on deck.
So I've seen this. I've seen it take another swipe at Mrs. Q, and now it's kind of retreated.
Yes.
Okay. Elle is just going to kind of turn to Mrs. Q and say, okay, I don't think we can fight something that we can't see. And honestly, she might, I think Elle's gonna like just pull out her dagger and again just stay close by Mrs. Q.
All right, so
I mean,
holding
I'm-
a dagger.
Yeah, just holding, kind of just holding. I don't think I'm gonna hold an action. If I wanted to hold a bonus action,
So
Is
I'm
that
only
kind
going
of the
to
same
hold
thing?
an action, not a bonus.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, there's not much I can do, Mrs. Q, without knowing what's going on.
All right. So Elle pulling out her dagger, staying at the ready. Mrs. Q, you are up.
Okay. So, given what we've seen of this creature so far, would I know what kind of creature it is?
I will say if you want, you can make an Arcana check at disadvantage since you're in the middle of combat, but you did see it form out of shadow and then went back into shadow. So at the very least, you don't think it's anything super corporeal at this time.
So I rolled a 9.
A 9? I'd say that's probably what you get with a 9. In the middle of everything, kind of feeling the pulse of the damage you've just taken, being surprised when you didn't expect it in an abandoned lower library. All you know is that the creature seems to just... It
Oh.
appeared from a shadow and it blended in.
Sorry, it was an 11, but I imagine the answer will be the same.
Pretty much the same thing in this case, yeah.
So is that the same as an undead? Would that be undead? Would I don't actually know what that means.
Mrs. Q can make an assumption at this point if she'd like.
Okay. Because I could.
We're still in initiative, right?
We are.
Okay.
I guess. Okay. Then what Mrs. Q would probably do if she wasn't sure is use her last 3rd level spell slot to cast Sending and send a message to probably Basil.
Okay. All right. What do you say? You have 25 words.
In lower library, under attack. Send help. Really quickly, please. That was only 10 words.
Love Mrs. Q.
Try. Basically, I just want to communicate like.
It's cold. Bring a sweater.
I mean that too. Like, see if. Ask Professor if there's a quick way down here. Mrs. Q.
Like a slide?
Oh, Mrs. Q.
I don't know.
Okay.
And then after she sends that, let me make a note of that. What can I do? Spiritual weapon is still on. So that's it. I guess I would move. Oh, no. Actually, I probably won't. There might not be much point. Unless you're going to thunderclap me again.
Sorry, I panicked.
Okay. It was a good idea.
Some people fart when they're nervous. I thunderclap.
It's both.
Kurt's fart is now my next question, but anyways.
Alrighty, so a message gets sent. All right, a message gets sent. Just being cognizant of time, what we're going to do, you do see the shadow come out once more to finish off this round. And this time, as I finally remembered that I have a little thingy here on Owlbear, you see the shadow appear, a little bit of movement behind you, Elle, as you can see it kind of form once more out of the shadows.
Should it have red eyes?
Yep. When it forms once more out of the shadows, you're not there, Basil. Once more out of the shadows, it's going to go ahead and try and take a swipe at you, reaching out for the hand that has the dagger to kind of grab around your wrist. Whoops, daisy. That's going to be a 17 to hit.
Oh, I'm squishy. That hits. Yeah. My armor class is 11. It hits.
All right. So you take 6 points of necrotic damage as you feel the arm grab around you, and you immediately go cold in the fingertips, grabbing your dagger. And you also feel as it squeezes, the grip weakens a little on your dagger as your strength score. You feel it sapping out of you as your strength score is reduced by 2.
Oh no.
Is it still holding on to her?
Well, what we're gonna do is we're going to cut there as it's kind of you're face to face with this thing, Elle. As Basil, you hear Mrs. Q's message come through asking for help in the lower library because they are under attack. And you are in one of the farthest towers, currently circling around. Finishing up with Professor Nightseed as Aurora is just getting her book autographed. With this message of Mrs. Q's voice, panicked, coming into your head. We're going to end there for tonight.
Cool.